Every week, thousands of voices tell you what Bitcoin is going to do. Buy now, sell now, all-time high incoming, crash incoming. The noise never stops. But beneath the price, beneath the charts and the headlines, the blockchain is quietly recording something far more valuable: the actual behavior of every participant in the network. Who is holding? Who is selling? Who is accumulating? What the smart money is doing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Acumen BTC. I hope you guys had a great week. So it's been another wild ride in the crypto markets, and this week, June 15th to June 22nd, 2026, we're diving deep into some fascinating on-chain data that's screaming accumulation opportunity. We've got extreme fear in the market, but guess what? Long-term holders are actually adding to their stacks. As always, this is not financial advice, it's for informational and educational purposes only. Alright, let's kick things off with the price action. So Bitcoin this week closed out at $63,400. That's a dip of 4.31% over the last 7 days. Now, I know seeing red can be a bit unsettling, but remember, these pullbacks are a normal part of any market cycle, especially in crypto. It's all about context, and we're going to layer on that context throughout this video. Now, let's talk about where we are in the grand scheme of things. Our proprietary market cycle score, which ranges from 0 to 100, is currently sitting at a cool 22. This puts us firmly in the accumulation zone. But what does that mean? Well, historically, these lower scores indicate periods where smart money tends to be buying, while the general public might be feeling a bit nervous. And that nervousness? It's perfectly reflected in the Fear and Greed Index, which is at a stark 20, signaling extreme fear. When everyone else is scared, that's often when the best opportunities emerge. It's a classic contrarian play, right? Alright, now let's get into the nitty-gritty with our on-chain deep dive. Let's take a look at our on-chain metrics dashboard. First up, the net unrealized profit/loss, or NUPL. This metric tells us how much unrealized profit or loss is sitting in the market. It's a great gauge of overall market sentiment. This week, the NUPL is at 0.16, which puts us in the hope-fear zone. We've seen a weekly delta of minus 0.038, meaning some of that hope is fading and fear is creeping in, which aligns perfectly with our Fear and Greed Index. Next, I want to take a look at the MVRVZ score. This metric helps us identify periods where Bitcoin is over or undervalued relative to its fair value. It's currently sitting at 0.38, firmly in the neutral zone, with a weekly delta of minus 0.039. So, while we're not in extreme undervaluation, we are certainly not overheated either. Keep an eye on the MVRV dipping under zero. This could be a great indication of deep accumulation by the big players in the market. Let's take a look at the supply in profit chat now. This chart simply tells us the percentage of circulating Bitcoin supply that is currently held at a profit. Right now, it's at 1.0375%, with a weekly drop of minus 0.17%. This means fewer coins are currently in profit, which can lead to selling pressure, but also suggests that a lot of the weak hands might have already sold. So I'm leaning more towards a market bottom forming, or a deep accumulation zone. Time will tell, but on-chain metrics is suggesting we are basically bottoming. Finally, let's move on to the Mayer multiple. This metric compares Bitcoin's price to its 200-day moving average, giving us a sense of whether it's overbought or oversold. It's at 1.196, with the realized price, which is the average cost basis of all coins, sitting at $52,998.77. This indicates we're still above the realized price, but not by a huge margin, suggesting a relatively healthy, albeit consolidating market. Now, this is where things get really interesting, and it's a metric I always pay close attention to: the long-term holder supply. These are the diamond hands, the investors who have held their Bitcoin for over 155 days, and they often have a much more clearer view of the market's long-term trajectory. This week, long-term holder supply stands at 16.64 million Bitcoins. But here's the kicker, it increased by a gigantic 67,700 Bitcoins this week. This tells us that despite the price dip and the extreme fear, the most sophisticated and patient investors are actively accumulating. They're not selling into the fear, they're buying it up. This is a strong signal of conviction and often precedes a market turnaround or continued strength down the line. It's a testament to the belief in Bitcoin's long-term value. Let's shift gears and look at what the big institutions are doing, specifically through the Bitcoin ETFs. This is crucial because it gives us a window into institutional sentiment and demand. For the past 7 days, we've seen a net outflow of 1,725 BTC from the ETFs. Total ETF holdings are now at 1.49 million BTC. Let's break it down. IBIT saw an outflow of 1,275 BTC. ARKB had an outflow of 435 BTC. And GBTC, surprisingly, only saw a small outflow of 155 BTC. On the flip side, FBTC actually had an inflow of 140 BTC, and BITB remained neutral. So while we're seeing some net outflows, it's not a massive exodus, and some funds are still attracting capital. This suggests a mixed sentiment among institutions, with some taking profits or rebalancing, while others are still seeing opportunities to buy. It's a bit of a tug-of-war, but the outflows aren't as dramatic as the price action might suggest. So what's the big picture this week? We've got Bitcoin pulling back over 4%, extreme fear in the market, and some institutional outflows. But, and this is a big but, our market cycle score says, accumulate. NUPL is in hope fear, and most importantly, long-term holders are adding a significant amount of Bitcoin to their bags. This tells me that while short-term sentiment is bearish, the underlying structure of the market driven by experienced investors remains resilient. We're likely in a consolidation phase where strong hands are taking advantage of the dips. My overall market posture this week is cautiously optimistic. It's a time for patience and strategic accumulation, not panic. Alright, that's it for this week's Bitcoin analysis. If you want to go deeper on all of this, head over to acumenbtc.com. We have the full intelligence room with all these metrics updated daily, plus our AI-generated weekly brief, a comprehensive portfolio tracker, and a lot more. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, tick the bell, and all that good stuff. You know what to do. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.